Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to Respect Our Decision, Respect Our Rowdies edition, guys. This is our brand new weekly basketball episode that we're going to do. And joining me, your boy Hirsch, as always, is our new host, Just for Basketball, Ryan Muse. Ryan, say hello.
Hey, everyone.
Ryan is brand new to the podcasting world, man. He reached out to me not long ago and said he wanted to jump in and do some basketball stuff with us. He's very passionate about the Gators basketball team, follows it a lot more probably than I do. As I've said, I say it about baseball, I say it about basketball too. I'm very awful about just reading the box score or following along on Twitter as all of y'all get real passionate about the game. And then, hey, hit me at tournament time. Oh, we didn't make the NCAA tournament. We're in the NIT. Thanks, Mike White. Well, I guess I'll check a few of those games out. I'm very guilty of that, self-admitted. But, Ryan's passion here, maybe I'm going to get a little bit back more into it and watch some games so I can have some back and forth conversation and not just rely on Ryan for all the here's what's going on in the world of Gator basketball. As always, guys, make sure you go and check us out. If you're watching this on YouTube, guys, you see it right above your head. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, drop a like on it. And in the comments down below, guys, give your score prediction for this week's game, Florida versus Tennessee at Tennessee. It's going to be a tough one. We're going to get to that one here in a little bit. We're going to probably close out with that. We're going to talk about some other things before that. Guys, as you know, Gators got a much-needed win this week against Arkansas, 90-68. Coming off the heels of obviously the crushing loss to Kentucky at home, a game I think everyone would admit, the Gators should have won. And then I guess just leaving their heads hanging, they get beat by Ole Miss right on the backs of that. Ryan, I'm going to start with you on this. And this is a question I think all of Gator Nation wants to know. Why can the Gators not shoot free throws?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, we completely struggle from the line. Our bigs, I think Samuel shooting 60% or under. I mean, it's a struggle, but they've supposedly been working a lot harder in practice, shooting free throws and making time to shoot free throws. So hopefully we see that. We need it. Definitely need
it. I feel like this has been a decade-long curse about the Florida Gators not being able to shoot free throws down the stretch. Y'all.
I'll never understand it. I'll never understand how you can't hit a free throw. That bothers me more than anything.
At least at a positive percentage. I mean, to me, obviously, I was not the most huge basketball. Basketball was probably number 3 on my sports fandom growing up. Baseball, football, and then basketball. I grew up in Atlanta, and the Hawks always sucked, so basketball was tough for me. So I was kind of like, oh, the Hawks are on? Great. Maybe I'll get to see Dominique dunk a few times. Other than that, I don't care. But no, in all seriousness, like you sit there and you think and you listen to anybody that talks about how basketball players practice. Free throw shooting is like, hey, every practice we shoot 100, we shoot 200, however many it is. We got to do something, man. Like
something's got to change.
This is a bad hangover from the Mike White days, and God knows we don't need any hangovers from the Mike White days. But before we get into we want to go and preview Tennessee, man. I really want to get your thoughts on, obviously, the landscape of all college sports have changed in the NIL era. Do you think now that college basketball has really moved from high school recruiting being as important as it used to be, and maybe now it's really just like kind of like what baseball has become, man? It's transfer portal. I mean, this team is built pretty much from the transfer portal.
They got a lot of hype at the beginning of the year. I mean, a lot of people had us making a deep run into the tournament. But at the same time, with NIL, you're still going to have one and dones. I mean, realistically, and the G League is starting to get into the high school recruitments. So you're seeing a lot of your best players go and bounce into the G League. I mean, you can't blame them, but
No, you can't.
That's the one issue with Golden's staff is they've not hit anyone at all in the high school recruiting yet. We've not landed a major guy. I mean, you see, unfortunately, Mike White's still landing those 5 stars. Are they turning out?
That's crazy to me. It's just crazy to me.
But if we can, I feel like if we can get more consistent in landing the elite talent out of the transfer portal, out of the high school recruiting. I mean, we just had a recent prospect. Well, he ended up eliminating us, but VJ, he ended up going to Baylor. He was down to Baylor and Duke, and we was heavy into that recruitment for a long time. But fortunately,
my major concern with obviously with the portal recruitment as far as basketball goes, and like you said, there's so many ones and dones, G League, is you just don't get the continuity, that sometimes teams that you got guys together for at least a couple of seasons. Now, like you said, to me, it's a revolving door, and I think it's going to make it a lot harder for fans such as myself, that admittedly more of a casual basketball fan. It's going to become much harder for us to get into following our favorite team because, oh, wait, what happened to, if you're not 100% following it all the time, hey, what happened to so-and-so? What happened to these 3 guys? They're here and they're gone. Okay, who are these new 4 or 5 guys? College football, obviously we talk about football on our main show a lot and recruiting and portal and all that. But when you're talking about an 85-man roster, 5 or 6 guys in the transfer portal, or maybe, 9 to 10, I don't know. It seems like you just seemingly remember those guys. You don't have to know their names quite as much, unless it's a big time guy. You know what I'm saying? On a college basketball roster that's so much smaller, I look and I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to the team we had last year? But now that's where you have to, like I said, you have to start following along with every little thing. Okay, what 5 guys went to the G League or went pro or decided to test the waters, and what are the new 5-6 transfers we're bringing in now? Do you think Golden's strategy is a sound strategy?
I hate to say that. To me, really and truly, I feel like if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot so much this season, we're completely turned around. If we hit free throws against Kentucky, that's a big win. Absolutely. That leads you into momentum against Ole Miss, and unfortunately, we were dead as a doornail in that game. I mean, you've seen momentum just completely shift from us, and our team didn't have the composure to follow along with it or to fight the tide.
And ultimately, that falls on your head coach. I mean, we're no strangers. Me and you talked about it before the game. We're talking about Mike White and his scoreless droughts and whatnot. And we're no strangers to lulls in a performance. And you can't have those now, especially when you've run your record like you had. You've had some bad losses. I mean, you had the Wake Forest loss. The Kentucky loss, obviously not a bad loss. Highly ranked team. You lost by 2 points, but you can't turn around and have that Ole Miss loss. And I mean, you had sent me a message. Hey, I'm just telling you now, we lose to Arkansas. We lose this Arkansas game. We can pretty much kiss the tournament goodbye.
Yeah,
I mean,
have to win.
That's a sad situation to run yourself into that. That kind of corner already. But that's what I think one of the challenges is you run into when you put together a roster of so many guys that don't know each other. I mean, and I could be completely wrong, and that maybe at the end of the day that falls on the head coach to be able to pull those guys together in a quick, timely manner and get them to win ball games. But the big time recruiters still recruit. Calipari's still out there recruiting.
Well,
Mike White, like you said.
That's the thing with Calipari's teams too, is no matter what, he's always going to have 5 NBA talent players, and they always struggle at the beginning of the year. And then seemingly almost every single time, they hit their stride right before the SEC tournament, and then they start making. I mean, they don't have these lulls that we have, unfortunately. And whenever they hit that SEC tournament window, going on into the NCAA tournament, they start making runs, and they're primed to do it now because they have two extremely good guards.
Yeah, so like we were talking about, now you got to make this trip to Knoxville, and Tennessee basketball has just gotten better, and this year you're talking about a really, really good squad. You like we were talking about before the show, haven't lost a home game all season. They lost a couple of neutral site games. They've lost 2 away games, North Carolina, Mississippi State. If you were going to have a statement game, this would be that game. This is the opportunity. But I don't think you would argue, you're going to have to play a perfect game from buzzer to buzzer. You're not going to be able to have scoring droughts. You're going to need to make probably 70% of your free throws at minimum.
Have to capitalize on turnovers too. I mean, this is
what can you tell us about that Tennessee game? Yeah, I'm sorry to run over you there, but yeah, what can you tell us about this Tennessee team?
Man, they are a veteran team. They still have Vescovi. They've got I can't think of his name, Ziegler, and then they have arguably the best player in the SEC conference, Dalton Connect. He is a real deal dude. I mean, he scored 36 the other night against Georgia. I mean, he's on big runs, but fortunately for us, Ziegler and Vescovi haven't been hitting their shots, or Josiah Jordan-James. Those three haven't been playing well down the stretch here recently. So if we can capitalize off that, but whoever's guarding Connect is going to have their hands full because he's going to get his.
Yeah, I mean, and with those star players, they're always going to, you're going to have that guy that always gets his points no matter what. What you need to do is obviously minimize the damage from everywhere else on the court. Obviously, I just said a lot of obvious things about what it's going to take to win the game. What do you think the keys for this Florida Gator team to do to be able to pull out a win on the road in Knoxville?
Rebounding and finishing shots. I mean, we see it so much, and we need another big game from our guards. Our guards in Kugel, they have got to play well. We've seen it. Pullen and Clayton have been playing their butts off for the last 4 games. This last stretch, they've been playing so good. We need Samuels to start picking it up more, which fortunately he averaged a double-double last game. So maybe we'll start to see him coming in, but we have got to find other people to score outside of Clayton Pullen. I mean, they've been the most reliable guys. Kugel's been so back and forth here lately. We need a big game from him. That's really and truly that's what we need.
So obviously, you're not going to be favored in this game. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, you have to obviously, if you're sitting here as a betting man, you're like, well, Tennessee is most likely going to win this game. But, obviously, you're going to expect a spirited effort from our boys as we go up there and try to win this game. But if you don't, is there still a viable path to the tournament? How many more losses do you think this team can actually afford on this stretch?
I'm looking at the upcoming stretch right now, and we have Missouri, Mississippi State, UGA, and then Kentucky at Rupp. I'll go ahead
and then Auburn after that down the road.
Yeah, you can go ahead and bet. I hate to say it, we're not beating Kentucky at Kentucky. That's
not the Kentucky and the refs. We're not beating both.
Yeah, can't beat them. It makes it a lot tougher. I mean, you need this win. That's because if you look, Missouri's 8-8, Mississippi State's 12-4, Georgia's 12-4. So they're okay programs, but this is the statement game, and this is your quad 1 win that you need. it just makes it a whole lot tougher. You've got a couple of games that you just can't squander opportunities. We've made it so tough on ourselves now.
Yeah, if you look back at it, I mean, like you said, you got to have that one signature win, and we just don't have that. You had a close loss to Kentucky. You had a close loss to Baylor. I mean, either one of those went our favor, then, the conversation is probably a lot different.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, you had 2 losses in Wake Forest, and then that Ole Miss loss. That Ole Miss loss was just such an ugly loss.
And Ole Miss is another team. They've been undefeated at home too. I mean, Beard's done a really good job with that program.
It's whenever you see that triple digits hung on the board, it just looks so ugly.
I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't turn the game off.
Woo.
I mean, it was just I was just so frustrated watching it because you could just tell the team wasn't into it. They was done.
Yeah.
Ready to go back, ready to leave Oxford.
And that's terrible because you expected that a little bit under Mike White teams, but there's been so much hype under Golden, under the young, exuberant guy. Yeah. And hopefully he's getting there. Hopefully, but once again, I mean, we've seen this in football with Billy Napier. Now we're seeing it at Todd Golden. A lot of hype, and then we're just kind of. Well, I can't say that the basketball team's probably a little ahead of the football team on hype still because you are winning some games, but you still don't have that big victory that you're like, now we're turning the corner. Now we're starting to see why we brought this guy here. And, you lose this game and you lose another one, you lose to Kentucky at Rupp, even though you expect it. I mean, like you said, that fan base is going to start to turn a little bit, and it's going to start to be like, all right, Scott Strickland made another, hire. And I hate that that's the fan base we are, but, we do expect greater things. So,
I mean, we've definitely been spoiled within, the last 10, 15 years. We were spoiled. I mean, we had so many good runs.
Well, hopefully we knock on some wood, man. We can pull something out here in Knoxville. I'm not going for the moral victories.
One last thing I want to say is no dumb fouls.
Yes.
Please, no dumb fouls.
Well, and that goes along with keeping your head up and keeping your head in the game and playing smart and not getting to a point where you're like, we're not getting the calls. This ain't going right. My shots aren't falling. And then you start, once again, it's no different than the football team. You play disciplined, you play smart, you play for, well, in this case, obviously 2 halves, but, but you've got to see these guys go up there and fight against a team that obviously everyone's going to favor to beat, a rival team in our eyes anyways. It would be a great statement victory, man. We sure do need one. This basketball program, for the sake of recruiting, for the sake of everything right now, needs a statement. I'd call it an ESPN victory.
We need something.
Right now, we're not the talk of much anything other than us complaining on social media that we suck at this, we suck at that. I'd love to see us get a big victory over Tennessee because I love nothing more than bragging it over Tennessee fans about beating them. But guys, we appreciate you checking out this new show here, and this show's going to get bigger and better, man. This is our first run of it. Ryan's first go at podcasting here, so we're breaking him in, getting him used to it. He's going to get out there, man, and do some research on some Gator recruiting as far as basketball goes for future episodes, so he can hit us up with any recruiting news and maybe guys that we're targeting, not only on the recruiting trail, but in the portal, on the portal trail. Obviously that won't come till later on as far as basketball goes. But as Todd Golden continues to try to shape this roster and get this Florida Gators basketball team back on track and back to where we expect it into the NCAA tournament and hopefully further down the line. Ryan, I sure do appreciate you, man, for joining us, and I sure do look forward to what we can make with this little show. I know a lot of guys don't. There's not a lot of basketball content out there, so I'm sure a lot of people will be thankful for it.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, giving me the opportunity to talk about this team. This could be a special team. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, man. I hope they find it quick and make something, happen that we can all be proud of. And like I said, have something to cheer about on social media right now in a time where a lot of people are just down on a lot of things around the Gator program. But you guys keep your heads up, man, and cheer those guys on this weekend. Hopefully we pull out a big victory. Check this show out. Like I said, drop a subscribe on the channel if you're new here. Maybe, you haven't been watching because you're a basketball fan and we didn't have any basketball content. Well, here you go. We're here for you. We'll be here each and every week. We're going to try to do this on Monday nights and go ahead and publish it on a Monday night. Put it out there Tuesday morning as well so y'all can find it. Until then, guys, go Gators.
Go Gators.